Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Steve again, Harmless Rebel. I'm going to do a miscellaneous video. There's not going to be any metal here for you metalheads, so sorry. I haven't done miscellaneous vinyl in a while. Now my throat and I'm all congested. Unfortunately, my family got hit with coronavirus. I started having symptoms on Christmas evening, and we had a great Christmas. We were good through Christmas, but about 10 o'clock Christmas evening, I wasn't feeling right. And by Sunday, I had a pretty, like 100, 203 temperature, and was kind of at the peak of the symptoms. I've pretty much kicked it, I believe. I've still got some congestion and almost like allergies is what it feels like at this point. Temperature, fever, all that stuff's gone. Unfortunately, my wife is now in the worst part, so she's sleeping on the couch downstairs. She doesn't even want to. She's aching too much to come upstairs. My daughter got it too. She actually had it first. We probably got it from her, and she had a light headache. The kids are getting through this stuff real easy. So, unfortunately, for my 45th birthday, I had the coronavirus. So. I hope you guys had a better Christmas than like I said. I shouldn't say that. We had a great Christmas. We had a lot of fun. Unfortunately, we had a bunch of friends over on the 24th. None of them have come down with the corona yet. We'll see. This Omicron stuff has hit the Atlanta area with a vengeance. I think 7 different friends now that have come down with it. And it's not people we've been in contact with, just different friends from different sides of the city all hit at the same time. So it is what it is. I want to do a quick video though. Like I said, this is all miscellaneous vinyl. No real topic here. It's just kind of a hodgepodge of stuff I've been listening to over the last few weeks. First up, so I am not a fan of Supertramp. I never have been. My dad liked them. I remember hearing it is, I don't know, I don't know what you guys call it. I always called it Asia. I've heard people pronounce it AHA, but I remember buying that when I first got back into collecting. I found a really nice original pressing, and I listened to it. I was like, man, this is so bad. And I know people love it. I don't know what it is. However, the one album they have that I've always loved is Breakfast in America. I had a pretty beat up copy, so when the MoFi pressing popped up, I went ahead and grabbed that. This thing sounds fantastic. This is actually the second one. I ran across an original pressing. I think they pressed this one originally back in the 80s on MoFi. I have a friend that has both that said that they think this one sounds better. This is the most recent pressing from a couple years ago, but sounds killer. Next up, so excuse me. I've never been a huge Neil Young guy, and all of a sudden, I've just been really getting into Neil Young. I think it started with I was listening to a Cocaine and Rhinestones. If you guys haven't heard that podcast and you're in the country, you've got to hear it. It's one of the best podcasts out there. And he told the story of On the Beach. And the reason that was on Cocaine and Rhinestones is because it was produced, and basically the concept, everything came from Rusty Kershaw, who's Sammy Kershaw's brother. And they did a story on it. I went out and bought that album, and I was blown away. I loved it. I had Harvest. I've always liked that album. And I've just been grabbing some other Neil Young stuff here and there. Well, this one was a record store day release a few years ago, and they sold out fast. They were going for crazy money, so I passed, and it finally got an official repress. So Harvest Moon from Neil Young, fantastic. If you like Harvest, yeah, you're gonna love this one. So I gave that quite a few spins. Next up, I showed this. I got this at the record store, or I'm sorry, at the last record fair that came through this area. I got a really good deal on it. This thing sounds fantastic. Cornerstone from Styx. I've always liked Styx. I like everything through. probably Kilroy. Kilroy, there's only a few songs on there that I really like, and it's probably the radio hits that I just remember growing up with. Um, these Nautiluses, though, sound fantastic. This was a sealed copy. I've had Nautilus before. I actually had the Cars, excuse me, the Cars debut. I had a Nautilus test pressing, and I gifted that to SMF Captain Howdy. One of the albums I wish I would have held on to, but you know, it is what it is. There's another Sticks in here too. Actually, I'll just get to it when I get to it. Next up, Clutching at Straws from Morillion. This was actually in my outbox. I remember spinning it and just, it didn't hit me. And it was a kind of a noisy pressing. And then I got my record cleaning machine right there. And I went back and cleaned some of the stuff in my outbox. And this was one of them. And it sounded amazing. It got rid of all the noise, all the ticks and pops for the most part. There's probably a couple small ones. But I gave it another spin, and it really hit me with that second and then third and then fourth spin. And I ended up playing this one quite a bit for a week or so there. You can't go wrong with the 80s Morillion. I think this was 89, 87. Some of their later stuff I didn't get into, even into the most recent. I just haven't dug, but all the Morillion stuff from the 80s is fantastic. This next one was a record store day release. I had the worst luck with this. I ordered it from a store. It came damaged. They sent another copy. It came damaged. They sent another copy. It was damaged too, and I finally just kept the third one. This one wasn't as bad. It's just the corner. But the other one had seam splits and one whole edge was just badly bent. But this is a fantastic album. I had never really given much love to this era. I can't remember exactly what. I want to say this was 90s when this came out. But, you know, I grew up on Tom Petty. My dad loves Tom Petty. I got into Tom Petty with Mary Jane's Last Dance. That's still one of my favorite songs. I'm still pissed off that wasn't in that the Wildflowers reissue. They added all that extra material. They did another release with more extra material. And it's ridiculous that song, which was recorded during those sessions, was not in any of those. Even like the $300 box set that was like 9 records didn't have that song. It makes no sense to me. But this is fantastic. This was reimagined release of She's the One, the soundtrack She's the One. Absolutely killer. Next up, so I remember this from when it came out. So on vinyl, it was called Eating Lamb. This was kind of towards the end of No Effects for me. I've lost all respect for this band. I've talked about them before. They talked about being very anti-government, anti-establishment, calling out the counter intel programs. You know, they said they supported the 99 percenters in DC, but they've stumped for every Democratic president that seems to go against everything that they believe in, or that they say they believe in. You know, during that whole 1%, 99% thing, it was a Democratic, the Democratic Party that was doing counterintelligence program operations in the 99 percenters. You know, so. And I'm not saying that they should go for Republicans. You know, these punk bands say one thing, they say they're anti-government, but they always seem to go after the big or side with the big government guys, which you know, and then they started attacking religious people, and they just lost it. But these early albums are this was not even early. This was later in their career. But anyway, Eating Lamb. I can't remember what the CD version was called Heavy Petting Zoo, and it's basically him jerking off a sheep. So it's not like it was better, that it was less obscene. It was just as obscene. I don't know why they did it. It's still a fantastic album though, and I actually like the couple albums that after this too. I think So Long and Thanks for All the Fish or So Long and Thanks for All the Shoes was probably the last of the NoFX that I really loved. Next up, I was really happy to find this. I've always loved this comp. I've always wanted the master sound pressing of it. This is a collection of great dance songs. Fantastic comp. The standout on this comp is the Money. It's a completely different pressing of Money, but I've always loved the selection on here. From Metal, you've got One of These Days, fantastic. You've got Money, Sheep, Shine On You Crazy Diamond, Wish You Were Here, and Another Brick in the Wall too. Just some of my favorite songs from their best albums. And I got this for a great price. It was actually still in the shrink, but the shrink was pretty damaged. So if you run across these, the Wish You Were Here half-speed master from Columbia, from CBS, is the best sounding pressing of that album I've ever heard. And I've heard just about every pressing out there. It blows them all out of the water. Next up, also Metal. These reissues, they did a really good job on these. I've got all but one or two of the represses now. Metal is my favorite Pink Floyd album. For years, I would have said it was Dark Side of the Moon, like everybody else. My favorite song on Dark Side of the Moon has always been Brain Damage, though. But then I heard Metal in my mid-20s, and man, I was hooked. I love this album. That and Animals probably would tie for my favorite. Next up, I mentioned I had another 6 to show, so I picked this one up maybe 6 months ago. Finally got around to spinning it. I've always wanted the MoFi pressing of this, and I found a really nice copy for a really good price. It's got a little ring wear, but I mean, this was 82, I believe, maybe 81. This was one of the early MoFi pressings, and it just sounds fantastic. That would be a nice one for them to do as a one-step, actually. Next up, I listened to this, and it turned into a whole thing. It just put me in the mood for it. I got this, I don't know, it's been about a year since it came out, I guess. And I just got around to listening to it like a month ago. I absolutely love this album. I think Bang a Gong killed this album. For a lot of people probably don't listen to this because they've just been burned out on Bang a Gong. But man, Jeepster, Monolith, Cosmic Dancer, there's just so many fantastic songs. This is such a great album. If you haven't listened to if you haven't listened to T-Rex, and I'm not talking about the Tyrannosaurus Rex stuff because it's totally, I'm not a fan of the Tyrannosaurus Rex, but the T-Rex albums, if you like Bowie, Spiders from Mars era Bowie, you're going to love this stuff. It's fantastic. Just one of the iconic album covers. Again, MoFi did a great job. And that led to me pulling these out as well. So after that, I'm trying to think what order they came out in. After that, I pulled out, I think I listened to Tanks first. Just a fantastic album. And then probably my second favorite is The Slider. And I just went on this binge where I was listening to T-Rex for about 3 days there. Give me a sec. The Tyrannosaurus Rex stuff I'm not a fan of. And actually the T-Rex after these 3 albums, Mark started getting experimental. He started doing some R&B stuff, and I just didn't like it. I think those 3 albums are perfect albums. And actually on The Slider and on Tanks, you start hearing him go that direction a little bit. With each album, there was a little less glam, a little more experimentation. But those are the 3. That's my sweet spot. I listen to those all the time. Absolutely love them. Next up, I don't remember if I showed this. I think I may have gotten this one the next day, the day after record store day. But I did end up running. I forgot that this was released. The store I went to didn't get any copies. But the Jimi Hendrix Experience Paris 1967, really killer pressing. Sounds great. Stone Free, Hey Joe Fire, Catfish Blues, When Cries Mary, Rock Me Baby, Red House is one of my all-time. I think it's one of the best songs ever written. Purple Haze and Wild Thing. I've talked about that before. The Red House version on Jimi Hendrix The Blues. Oh my God. And then this was one I just randomly picked up about a month ago. Anytime I run across the numbered copies, which was basically the record store day first releases, I grab them. I don't know how I missed the Miami Pop Festival, and actually, I think they just released the Atlanta Pop Festival too, so I need to go find that one. But again, this was 68, so when was this, 67? Does it say what the date is? October 67, and then you've got May 68, so real similar. Hey Joe, Foxy, this one's got tax-free. Fire, Hear a Train Coming, another fantastic blues song. I Don't Live Today, Red House, Purple Haze, Fire, and Foxy Lady. Pull this one out. I was putting some records away, doing some cleaning in my office here, and no, I just was in the mood for Sisters of Mercy, so I went ahead and pulled this one out. This is an older MoFi, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Oh no, 2012. I've had this one for 6 or 7 years. I just recently picked up the other Sisters of Mercy that they did on MoFi as well, but I haven't spun that yet. Finally grabbed this. I absolutely love this band. This is one of those bands that the Psychobilly guys, even though it's one of the most popular Psychobilly bands, it's one that all the Psychobilly guys like to talk shit about. These guys are fantastic live. I've seen them a number of times. My wife's not a Psychobilly fan, and she loved the show. But Tiger Army, this is their most recent retro future. I thought I had pre-ordered it, and I went back and checked, and I didn't. I don't remember what happened. But I was at my local record store, and they had one of the limited pressings. There were only like 200 pressed on the split. I don't remember what color it is. Really cool. It's probably my least favorite of the Tiger Army albums. It's still really good, though. Speaking of Psychobilly, go to the Rockabilly Kings, the Stray Cats. I talked about this. This was the Mobile Fidelity, the MOV record store. They released 3 LP. This is fantastic. Both shows are phenomenal. You've got one show from August 83 and one from July 81. They're both fantastic. It's really, you can hear a huge difference between 81 and 83 just in the band and the skill of the band. I've always loved the Stray Cats, though, and this is definitely worth the money. Grab this while they're still available. Bill Withers' Greatest Hits. One of the best 70s R&B albums there is. It's just so good. There's not a bad track on here. This is one that I tried to buy when it was first pressed in like 2017 or 2018. And you used to see them all the time. So I'll get it later. And then with Corona, once the pandemic started, everybody started going crazy buying everything MoFi, and I couldn't find it anywhere. So they finally did a repress a couple months ago, and I was able to grab a copy. But man, just the two of us, his version is fantastic. Ain't No Sunshine, Lovely Day, Lean on Me. Such a great album. And then a little bit of jazz. So this is one that I've always heard everybody say how good it is. And I just never ran across a nice copy. And they're now doing this classic series. I wish they would do... The Tone Poet sounds so good. The Blue Note Tone Poet series. Their audiophile pressings, their gatefolds, they all sound amazing. people are buying them up. They're not super expensive. Most of them $30 to $35. Uh, and I don't know why Blue Note just doesn't release all of their albums this way. The classic series, it's cool to see some of these classic albums get reissues, but they get these classic albums get reissues every few years. What's really special about the Blue Notes, and I'm going to show this one in a minute, is a lot of these are super obscure. So actually, I'll show this one at the same time. But the Sonny Clark, My Conception, this was originally recorded in like 58 or 59. It didn't get released until the 70s. And Blue Note didn't release it till the 80s, I think. And there's been a couple. There's a Grant Green that's like that. But the Tone Poet series is some of the best jazz albums I've ever heard. And there's only one, and I want to say it's Paul Chambers. Maybe it's not Paul. It's Chambers. It's a bass player. Where he's playing bop, it's great, but there's a couple songs on there where he's playing with a bow, and I can't stand it. Everything on this Tone Poet series has been phenomenal. I've got like 10 of them now. There's a few more I want to get, but this one is you've got Art Blakey, who's one of the greatest drummers of all time. You've got Hank Mobley, who is a favorite. I've talked about him before. He's probably one of my favorites. Donald Byrd, Sonny. I mean, this is fantastic. But like I said, they've also been here doing the classic series. I love this album as well. I just wish it would have got the treatment of that album. But it's the incredible Jimmy Smith, Back at the Chicken Shack. It's just one of those classics that everybody dipping their toes into jazz should be checking out. And then last but not least, I know this one's gone on, Miles Davis Live. So I showed this. I got around to spinning it. 70s jazz is really hard for me. It's either amazing or it's terrible. There's no in between. And for instance, you got Herbie Hancock, who put out one of the most important jazz albums of the 70s, with his fusion of funk and jazz and soul. So Miles Davis put out this is kind of is it Mahavishnu Orchestra, or the guys in the band basically with him. There's 2 songs on here that are one of them may be my new favorite Miles Davis song, which is saying a lot. But there's a couple songs on this album that are hard to listen to. I don't like jazz fusion. I'm not a big jazz fusion guy. Now, I just mentioned Herbie Hancock. That's more of a funk album with some jazz. When I talk jazz fusion, I'm talking rock and jazz. I don't like it. There's a couple Weather Report albums I like. I like them because of Jaco Pastorius. He's one of my favorite bass players. And he's just amazing. And he's the only reason I like those albums. This one, though, especially the intro, the first song is almost one whole side. It's fantastic. I can't remember the guitar player's name on here. But it's a guy from, I believe, I may be butchering the name. I think it's Mahavishnu Orchestra, though. And he was a guitar player. And the guitar work on this album is phenomenal. If you're a Miles Davis collector, it's kind of a must-have, because you want everything. And like I said, there's 2 of the songs on here are phenomenal. They're so good, but there's 2 songs on here that I can barely get through. So I'd probably give this one a 5 out of 10. That's it, guys. It's been a while since I did a video, and wanted to throw one together. It's something to keep my mind off of everything that's going on around here. But I hope everybody had a great Christmas. I hope you have a wonderful New Year, and I'll see you soon. Bye.